All right, boop. I'm Beck Lane. This is my hair of the day, and this is Catalyst and Company. Catalyst and Company, where we're catalysts in each other's lives as well as our own, and we work at being the artists we've always wanted to be. So I haven't been making a lot of videos again, but it's mainly because I've been super busy. And today I'm not feeling really well. I've been sick the past 2 days, so you have to, once again extend your patience with me if I derail. But anyway, the artist residency at Art Ovation ended on actually Sunday night. Monday we took the show down. But we put up work at Luxile Gallery in Sarasota. At Art Ovation it was all Frida Kahlo's. At Luxile it's all LGBTQ work. There's only 3 pieces hanging up. One of the author Jacob Tobiah. Then I've got the then the female drag artist King Femme, who is now a trans man and married, which is awesome. And also my friend Jordan Butel, who's a trans man here in Sarasota. So it's a small presentation, but it's still there with other artists for this Pride show. I'm trying to think, what else do we have? The work at Urbanite is coming down soon, and another artist is going to go up. It was originally, I understood it was going to be me for the next show, but actually I'm really relieved. I'm so tired that I had everything scheduled, so once Art Ovation came down, I would produce work for the next Urbanite show, and it would be in there in about a week. So I'm kind of glad that someone else is going in, because I need a respite. We've been going full tilt since really January, starting with events in February, but going full tilt, doing event after event after event, and I'm not complaining, because it certainly is much better being seen and having my work recognized than being stuck like we have been for the past 6 years. So I'm pretty happy about that. But behind me are our canvases I'm prepping now for the next Luxile Gallery show, which is going to be once again all Frida's. And I've only got a few weeks to get stuff ready for that. We have most of the Frida's left from the Art Ovation. We did sell one. We have 2 that could have possibly sold. We're still waiting on that. So we'll see. But the thing is to just keep moving and just keep producing. So currently I have 6 canvases that I'll be working on for that show. And if everything works out, I'll have 2 more after that, 2 more canvases to get ready. So we're just going to keep moving ahead on the 55 Frida project. So we'll have as many up as we can at the Luxile Gallery. From there, there have been several opportunities that have popped up. Some of them have gone right out of my head. But just so you know, my friend Stephanie is headed to Atlanta to talk to galleries there. My friend Jonathan had me contact a gallery in St. Pete that also has a location in Miami. And I've entered work for an open call that they have, but also to be part of their stable of artists. So things have just kept moving along. But I was thinking yesterday about the presentation that I had at Art Ovation. I'm pretty proud of it. We not only had a really beautiful display that my friend Patrick hung up, but because of my friend Olivia, I remembered that I had all these prints left over from my New York show 10 years ago. So I pulled those out, took them with me, and laid them out on a table with price tags, and we were selling them, which was nice. It was a really nice way to supplement my time there, and also kind of to boost my ego a little bit, but to boost my energy. Making money off your artwork always feels better than not making money off your artwork. But in the presentation too, I was scheduled to be there from 4 to 8 o'clock every day in the lobby where they have the artist alcove, the artist residency. But I was in there by 2:30 every day, set up by 3:30, ready to go. And then I would stay till midnight, 1 in the morning. I just kept talking to people. I didn't leave until I, A, had no energy left, or B, there was no one really left coming through the lobby or coming to see me. So, you know, I really would love to still be there, but the time there was done. A piece of feedback I got was from a couple I'd spoken to one night, and the following night I spotted them at the bar. And I was talking to people who were coming in and talking to me and watching me paint and filming and taking pictures and stuff. It was really fun. But I spotted this couple that I had spoken to the night before at the bar. They were eating dinner and they were watching. And you know, you never know who's watching. You never know. So I walked over and I said, "How are you guys doing tonight?" And they said, "We're just watching you." And I said, "Really? Why?" And they said, "Because the flow of people going to see you has been relentless and endless. And there are times that you've been inundated with people. And we like watching you interact. We like watching how you talk to people and how you deal with them." And it was nice. It was great feedback, because I never know how I come across. I know I come across like a squirrel on crack sometimes, so I don't know. One thing I did do wrong, and one thing that didn't occur to me and I handled incorrectly, and I'm telling you this so you, if you get to this position, maybe you consider these, you consider my little stories while you're showing yourself, you know, while you're out there exposed. We had the reception Friday night from 5 to 7. It was absolutely the wrong time to have it. I didn't schedule it. Nobody on my side scheduled it. It was the hotel, from 5 to 7. 5 o'clock is, of course, rush hour everywhere in the United States. In Sarasota, it's particularly bad. It's like Atlanta or Boston or New York. Everybody's crammed onto the streets and trying to just get home to take a shower to get ready to go out to dinner. So by the time it was scheduled to end 7 o'clock, then people were coming out. So I suggested to the curator that they listed as the reception starting at 5, but not ending, just starting at. Because I had a number of people who got a hold of me and said, "Oh, I won't be there before 7. I won't be able to get there till 8. And I kept messaging people back going, "I'm going to be here till midnight or so." So it was after 8 o'clock that people started coming in to talk to me. So keep that in mind when you're scheduling a reception, that rush hour, right after work during rush hour, is not a good time. And in going over my presentation with people, you know, I've gone over it and over it. I managed to get myself into a rhythm where I kind of was saying the same thing to each person that came in and trying not to make it rote. But a lot of people asked me, every person asked me, "Why Frida Kahlo? Why are you choosing to do 55 portraits of Frida Kahlo?" Same story, same performance every time. And that's what this is, it's performance. Doing these types of things is performative. But I would say, well, I was talking to my guy, Jay Louise, out at Blue Egg Gallery, and you wouldn't believe how many people went, "Oh my God, Blue Egg, yeah, I've heard you talk about him," or "I know him from your posts," or "Oh yeah, I've been there," or "I know Wilton Manors in Fort Lauderdale, I'll go." It was awesome. That was really awesome. But I'd say my guy, Jay Louise at Blue Egg Gallery in Fort Lauderdale, we were on the phone one day and he said, he suggested that I paint more images that are more colorful and brighter and maybe slightly more cheerful. And of course I went, "Oh, you don't get me. You're another one. You just don't get me." So I sat around here and I pouted for 24 hours and I went for walks and I thought about it. And then I went, "Oh, Frida Kahlo," because she falls right within the time period that I really appreciate. The 1850s to about 1945. I don't do much work beyond that because I love black and white photographs. I love the feeling of that 95-year period to 100-year period. You can see so much more in people, so much more of their character, who they are, and so much more of their heart and soul in these black and white photographs, before we get into color. And I don't like modern. I like that. So she falls right within that time period. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of photographs of her during that time period to work from, to use as reference. But also, and this is what I said to people, is she transcends age, race, gender, nationality, religion. She transcends everything. So Frida holds holds a special place in pretty much everyone's heart. And everyone can see a little bit of themselves in her. But what I didn't talk about was the other reason why I find her compelling. Honest to God, when I first came up with this is now no longer a secret, but I had no affinity for Frida Kahlo. I honestly could care less. Sorry to be blunt, but it's true. She just wasn't all that in a bag of chips to me. But since starting this project, I've learned more and more about her, and as I'm painting her face and her figure and her stance and the way she holds herself, she has begun to mean an awful lot to me. Frida wasn't just a female painter out of Mexico. Frida was another woman, another person in the world who was fighting to be seen. And that's something I really appreciate. I love the underdog story, but I love the underdog story especially when they come out on top, like our friend Vincent. Sadly, Vincent didn't know. Sadly, Frida didn't know. Because 30 years after she died is when she actually gained popularity through the women's movement. But as we've seen over time, she's gotten more and more and more and more and more and more popular with people, where pretty much everyone knows who she is and recognizes her image. And as I paint her, I can see a strength and determination in her eyes, and a dignity in the way she holds herself, but also she just projects this understanding of her place in the world. You can kind of see it, and you can also see that she's looking into the camera going, I know who I am. I know my value. The world hasn't caught up yet. The world has not caught up to me yet. You're the idiots, not me. I love that look on her face. She's just so bullheaded. You can see it. I've really taken to her. And let's keep in mind, when Frida was alive, her husband was Diego Rivera, and that's what she was known to be, the wife of Diego Rivera. And that she, quote unquote, by American newspapers, was the little woman who dabbled. That's all she was to anyone. She came to the United States. She was Diego Rivera's wife, the little woman who dabbled. She went to Europe, where she was slightly more popular, but she was still just Diego Rivera's wife. And now we look at her, and she's a queen. I mean, this woman is a queen of the arts, falling in the same legacy as Alice Neel, where people didn't necessarily see her work at the time. Museums in New York did, but the wider public thought it was ridiculous that she was painting figures from Harlem, from Spanish Harlem especially, but painting gender fluid people and queer people, and painting black people, and not painting what white men thought should be in art galleries or in museums. And then Alice Neel became one of the greatest painters in American history, transforming portrait art. And the same with Yayoi Kusama, who spent decades fighting the system, knowing her worth, just like Alice Neel, just like Frida, knowing her worth, knowing where she should be, and with millions of people going, no, 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 you're just a little Japanese lady who paints. Yayoi Kusama, though, just kept moving forward. She kept tackling all the powers that be, and she created, she is the reason we have happenings. She created happenings in New York when she was there, trying really hard to be discovered. She was alongside Andy Warhol, and she was very proud of getting, if not the same amount of press, more press than Andy Warhol. However, she wasn't able to cross over that boundary of, this is the art world, this who runs it, and we don't want you, or, we're not going to recognize you. Now she is, of course, known worldwide. Yves Saint Laurent has partnered with her at least twice that I know of to design clothing around her paintings and her ideas. Happenings are going on decades later. We're talking 50 years, 60 years later because of her. Her most famous happenings were in Central Park, where she would, people would get naked and she would paint dots on them, her polka dots on them. She's famous for her rice paintings. She's famous for so many things now. And she's known around the world, and she's collected in museums around the world, but she has that Frida look in her eyes, even when she's young and struggling. I know my worth. I love the photographs of her in her different studios or apartments painting. And she looks at the camera like, I know my worth. I know who I am. I know where I can be. You just need to catch up. You're the idiots here. She's got the same look that Frida had. And also Alice Neel. Alice Neel, who held herself with so much pride and saw the value of her work and her techniques. They weren't really being done before. Anyway, sorry, really don't feel well. But that's the part about Frida Kahlo that I haven't expressed before, is I feel a kinship to these women, to Frida, to Alice Neel, to Yayoi, I keep pronouncing her name wrong, and to our friend Vincent. He knew his value. It's just the rest of the world had placed art in such a teeny tiny box, and the artist in such teeny tiny boxes, that he wasn't fashionable at the time. And now he, like Frida, like Yayoi, like Alice Neel, are some of the most highly collected artists in the world. I think Yayoi Kusama is the number one, she's the top, her artwork is the top collected artwork by a living artist. Sorry to be repetitive. Right now, I believe I know she was number one for a long time, for quite a while, for like 10 years. I believe she still is, surpassing so many male artists, whereas Vincent van Gogh was number one in artists who have passed away. So when we're sitting, my point is, when we're sitting in our studios and we're thinking about, do I see myself as someone who's small? Do I choose to see myself as someone who's small and needs to fit in a box and do trite, kitschy work? Or do I stick to the course, hold my value in my heart, the knowledge of who I am and what I'm capable of and the extents I can go, holding it in our heart, go with that direction? Because the trite artists, the kitschy, in my opinion, the kitschy artists, yeah, they're going to make money at the moment. But where do you want to be in 10, 20, 30 years? I'm not going to be around in 10, 20, 30 years. I doubt it very much. Do I want to be the kitschy artist who painted seagulls and lighthouses and stuff? And that's perfectly fine. I've had that discussion with 100 people already. Or do you want to be in museums? Do you want to be celebrated? Do you want your artwork to be celebrated and hold that legacy? So it's a lot to consider. It's a lot to consider, but I think to find that strength and hold your dignity in what you're doing, look into the eyes of Frida Kahlo. Look into the eyes of Yayoi Kusama. Look into the eyes of Alice Neel. See yourself there and hold on, because they weren't allowed in. They weren't allowed in for a long time. And then they were. Then the world woke up and they were. All right, I'm Beck Lane. This is Catalyst & Company. If you'd like to help support Catalyst & Company, all the links are down below, including Cash App, PayPal, and a bunch of other things, as well as TeePublic, Patreon, where you can supply monthly support for as low as $5 a month. And don't forget, on Patreon, I've been making Patreon-specific merchandise, things that you won't find on TeePublic. But also, if you'd like to inquire about the prices in the Frida Kahlos that I'm developing, the galleries are all down below. The links are all down below, or you can DM me. You can write in the comment section or DM me through my website. All right, that's it. Ciao. Ready, Carrie? Ready, Carrie, and Eric, and Karen, and everyone. Ciao. And Ann, tell your friggin' hospital to get that lift, because that's dumb. Tell your doctor to get that lift, because that's dumb. Anyway, and Lisa, thank you for always watching. All right, ciao. Meow, meow, boink.